What's going on, guys? It's the Bigs Podcast, episode number 9. And today we're going to talk about first base and our 2022 rankings. With me on this particular evening, Mike Haber, the only New York Yankee fan that'll ever appear on this show. Mike, how you doing this evening, man?
I'm doing great, Joe. Thanks for having me. Excited to dive into first base rankings today. It's looking a little strange, actually, but I'm really excited to get into it with you.
Yeah, it's a very, very interesting list of guys this year. Just going to cover some news and notes before we dive into this thing. Some very interesting things have happened over the last couple of days that we would be remiss not to mention. Starting with, holy shit, the Tampa Bay Rays just spent a whole lot of money on a guy who's played 70 games in his career. Wander Franco, 11-year, $182 million extension and a team option for $25 million, bringing the whole thing to 12 years, $223 million for a guy who has 70 games under his belt. Mike, you're going to see a lot of this kid for a long time now. What are you thinking?
Yeah, no, I'm not thrilled about this, but I'm also not surprised. I mean, we're seeing this as the new trend in baseball now, aren't we? Like a player like Tatis comes up, he takes the world by storm, and then after a year or even less than a year, gets this otherworldly contract. But I mean, he proved it last year. He proved that he can handle this pitching. He proved that he can handle the defense. He proved that he can be that number one prospect, that overall ranked prospect that Tampa Bay, depended on him for. And they were able to let go of Willy Adames without feeling any sort of regret because they knew they had this kid to bring up. I'm scared. I'm scared for the next 12 years.
You know what? He's only 20 years old. This will bring him through his age 32 season. Here's my question. Over or under 9.5 years he actually spends in town? And then maybe they say, all right, time to trade you off and get some pieces and rebuild for the next generation. But at least you're going to have, I would imagine, the next 10 or close to it.
Yeah. I was gonna take the under actually, but yeah, I think you're right there. Knowing the Rays and how they typically play these kinds of contracts, I feel like he may not be there for the entirety, but I would say at least 2/3 of it he's there at Tampa.
Yeah. And now they get to build around him. And Randy Arozarena is still there. Brandon Lau is not going anywhere. And now all of a sudden it's the generation of Shanes on the mound. Clanahan and Boz are the 1-2.
Yep.
Look out. They're back. They're going to be right back in the thick of it next year.
Yeah.
Insane to build around.
Yep.
Speaking of being in the thick of it, the San Francisco Giants re-sign Anthony DeSclafani and appear to be nearing a deal to also bring back Alex Wood. These guys were both very good this year for the San Francisco Giants. Tony Disco, as I like to call him, 3 years, $36 million to stay put in San Francisco. Wood's deal, we're hearing, is going to be 2 years and more than $10 million per season. It sounds like really, really decent deals. And Anthony DeSclafani, he figured something out in San Francisco this year.
Yeah, and you know what? If it worked for the Giants last year, why not? Why not bring these two guys back? And you're actually getting them at a really, really good deal, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Like too good. Like Tony Disco should have probably gotten a little bit more money than this, in my opinion.
I would have paid $20 million a season for him.
Yeah.
Getting him for 12 a year is awesome. Now, part of that is, well, we have this nice ballpark that you like to pitch in that's very large and cavernous, and like it works out that way. This past season was by far his best year, 13-7, 3.17 ERA, 167 innings, which was second most in his career, 152 strikeouts. Not the biggest strikeout guy, but you know what? This was just a really, really strong and great pairing of the Giants and this guy.
Yeah. And Kevin Gausman, he's still there, right?
He's a free agent as well.
He's a free agent, but Logan Webb
is there. These two guys. And then, do you remember Tyler Beatty? He might be back. What if they go sign another guy, somebody in the vein of an Eduardo Rodriguez? Who knows?
Yeah.
The Angels have locked up left-handed reliever Aaron Loop on a 2-year, $17 million deal. And I would just like to publicly say fuck you to Angels GM Perry Manassian. That's 2 straight guys you just took while we were getting our shit together. And is it that you just don't like Billy Epler? Like, what is the issue here that you're just picking off of the team that Epler just got hired to? I don't know. Mike, he had a great season last year. He's going to be great in the Angels bullpen. And I heard a stat the other day, you'll find this interesting, that this is the first pitcher that has been signed by the Angels for more than a 1-year deal since like 2013 when they signed Joe Smith.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is wild. And it's
Right?
actually a testament to how bad the Angels have been. Like they're not willing to invest.
Right. And who was at the helm during that time? Billy Epler.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great.
But do you see Aaron Loop as a closer, or do you see him as someone who is going to bridge the gap to
I don't know.
A free agent closer? I don't know.
I don't know if that's I mean, here's the thing, like he very well could, but if he's the only lefty in the Angels bullpen, I always hate doing that and like naming that guy as the closer because what if you're facing wherever Matt Olson lands and he's coming up in the 8th inning? You probably want this guy for him.
Right.
Mike Myers, not the serial killer or the Austin Powers, but the player, does appear as the closer as per roster resource. But I mean, there are other lefties in that pen. Packy Naughton.
Who's that?
Sam Selman and Jose Quijada. Are these people?
I've never heard of any of those people.
Jimmy Herget, Andrew Wantz with a Z.
What does he want?
Exactly. Austin Warren. Like, this is their bullpen.
Yeah, Austin Warren is actually pretty good, but he's probably the only name that I'd say can compete for a closer role.
I mean, it's not like they even have anything in there that like stands out to me.
Yeah.
No, like okay, if you're rebuilding a bullpen, I guess this is how you start by getting your lefty lockdown guy.
Yeah,
sure, whatever.
That's something.
Yeah.
Hey, and the Angels have been active. I give them credit. They're the one team that's like,
well, I will not do that. I will not.
Okay,
I will not give them credit for paying Noah Syndergaard $21 million and taking him away from us, and then turning around and signing Aaron Loop on a 2-year deal for 17. That sucks.
Okay. I give them credit. You don't have to give them credit.
I will not. And I want to know what Billy Epler is going to do to respond to these 2 moves because they were taken right out from under us.
Yeah.
Seiya Suzuki, the Japanese outfielder, has been posted, and we're going to take a look at his numbers and exactly what we're looking at here when it comes to this guy. Although I'll say this much, there haven't been very many Japanese players to come over and succeed. Am I right?
Hitters? Well, actually both, but yeah. Especially hitters.
Yeah.
It's hard to find.
So in the Japanese leagues last year, 133 games played, 77 runs scored, 26 doubles, 38 home runs, 88 RBIs, a 319 batting average, a 436 on base with more walks than strikeouts, and 4 steals because why not? Oh, I'm sorry, 9 steals. 9 steals because why not just add on to that guy?
Yeah.
There have been a ton of teams linked to this guy. We're talking the Mets are in on this guy, the Rangers, Red Sox, Giants, Mariners. I mean, who knows where this guy will land? But my bigger question here when it comes to Japanese players is when your team signs one, and your team has signed a few in its history, probably 2 of the best 5 in Masahiro Tanaka and Hideki Matsui.
Mm-hmm.
Are you excited about it? Because for every one of those guys that I mentioned, there's Eagawa, there's Daisuke Matsuzaka.
Mm-hmm.
So how would you feel if the Yankees were to sign this guy?
First of all, okay, so he's a right-handed bat, which no pun intended, right off the bat, I'm not sure I'd feel like he'd be a good fit in New York. Given our logjam at certain positions that this guy supposedly covers, but he's not taking Aaron Judge's spot in right field. Maybe he can play corner and outfield. Maybe he can switch over to play left, but I don't know. Do you want to risk that this is your everyday player? Do you want to take that risk and post that money that this guy's asking for? I mean, I don't know. Given the track record of what New York has done with Japanese players, granted we've landed 2 stars, I don't think I'd be excited about it, to be honest.
I mean, Yu Darvish has been great. Kenta
Yeah.
Maeda has been good. Shohei Ohtani has been tremendous this past year, but not all that tremendous before.
Right.
And then we're just like Shogo Akiyama and Hirokazu Sawamura, the guy in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the recent departures from the Japanese leagues. Kohei Arihara is with the Rangers. Shun Yamaguchi, remember that guy that signed to Toronto and was just awful?
Yeah.
Yoshi Susugo is on the Pirates.
Yeah.
Yusei Kikuchi's a free agent. And then we're going back in time and looking at a bunch of other guys. Nori Aoki comes to mind. So Taguchi comes to mind. Kosuke Fukudomi on the Cubs comes to mind. That of just guys that came over here and were bad.
Right.
And they ate up a lot of money. So I don't know that I would be thrilled to see this. If this is Billy Epler's answer for Michael Conforto, I'm going to be very upset.
Right. I mean, the one thing that could excite me about this guy is his on base percentage, and if he brings that sort of patience and his strikeout to walk ratio is really impressive in Japan, but I don't know if it would translate to American pitching, but it's something that the Yankees lack, a hitter like that. So if any of that can come over and we can pair that with Lemayo and, get some on base average guys, that would be huge for a team that, that's our Achilles heel when it comes to the playoffs.
Right.
So,
right. Moving on, Steven Matz, former New York Met, is going to sign this week, according to the press release his agent may or may not have leaked to whoever the hell was reporting it. Bunch of teams in on this guy after a pretty good bounce back season, including my Mets. The Giants, Red Sox, Blue Jays, Tigers, Cubs, Angels, and Cardinals are all linked to this guy. Mike, I don't think you'd have a problem with this guy coming to the Bronx, would you?
No, I take him as a back end rotation guy for sure. But what are your thoughts?
Because you have Jordan Montgomery.
Yeah.
I think they're a similar guy.
Yeah, that's true. So Joe, how would you feel about this guy coming back to the Queens?
Yeah, we talked about this off air, and I told you what I was going to say, and I still stand by it. He deserves better than what the Mets did to him. He was a really, really decent player for us. A 4.35 ERA, a 31-41 record that has a lot more to do with our offense than his ability. And a 4.35 is fine as a 4 or 5 starter, and that's all we ever asked him to be. This is just another generation of John Neese. This is just another generation of another lefty dude, right? It's now become David Peterson, or I guess Joey Lucchesi could be the next guy in there. But I digress. He was fine. And when he struggled in 2019, especially in 2020, when he went 0-5 with an ERA north of 9, we just shipped him off for whatever we could get because we thought he was washed up and done. And he proved something in Toronto.
Yeah. But at the time, Joe, were you happy to see him go? Or were you like, this is going to be a regret?
I didn't really think that we'd regret it as badly as I currently at this moment do, given the shortage of pitchers that the Mets now have.
Right.
Like, for all the injuries that the Mets went through last year, it sure would have been nice to have this guy throwing every 5th day.
Yeah.
Even if his ERA would have been worse, even if his record wouldn't have been as good, it still would have been nice to have him throw 150 innings for the team.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have had to rely on Jordan Yamamoto and Sean Reed Foley and Jared Eichhoff. Like, we wouldn't have had those guys.
Oh, yeah.
My thing is, he deserves a whole lot better than what the Mets organization gave him. move on. Like, I get you are from fucking Long Island. Like, you went to school in Ward Melville High School in East Setauket, New York. Like, you're from this area, but go make your millions elsewhere. The Angels should be all over this dude. If you were to put Noah Syndergaard, Shohei Ohtani, Patrick Sandoval, this dude, and I don't know, find you another five. Like,
Yeah,
I don't
it's
think that's
something.
terrible.
It's
Where
something.
where do you
Reed Demers.
yeah, where would you think would be best for him?
I actually think a nice home for him would be in Detroit. They didn't get Verlander. This is a nice veteran presence for them to have with some of these young pitchers they've got coming up, with Torkelson coming up, and the core that they have on their offense. I think that Detroit's going to compete this year. I said this in the second base show. I think they're going to show something this year. But I think they need a couple more steady, consistent arms that'll give them innings in the back end.
Their projected rotation right now is Eduardo Rodriguez, Casey Mize, Tariq Skubal, Matt Manning, and Tyler Alexander. Matthew Boyd is on the IL. Spencer Turnbull is coming off of Tommy John surgery. He will not
Okay.
pitch in 2022. But Matthew Boyd will be back. The one thing I'm noticing about this rotation is Eduardo Rodriguez is a lefty. Tariq Skubal is a lefty. Tyler Alexander is a lefty. Matthew Boyd is a lefty. You want to add Steven Matz to that. That's a lot of lefties. Like,
That's a lot of lefties. That's true.
Lefties.
Yeah, it's a good point.
I think the Cardinals would be an unbelievable landing spot for him.
Yeah.
The Giants, of course, would be great. I wouldn't even mind seeing him go back to Toronto. Like, if you believe in that, you go back to that because they're going to need you.
Yeah. Yeah. I you know what I would hate? I would hate to see him go to the Cubs.
Yeah, that would be really disappointing, wouldn't
Because
it?
like what? Yeah, it's just like another Jake Arrieta. Like, all right, you're gonna eat innings for a team that's not
Not
gonna
going to be
compete.
very good.
Yeah.
You're going to automatically fall in as the number 2 behind Kyle Hendricks.
Yeah.
And that I don't think suits him well enough.
No, I agree.
Kendall Graveman is signing in Chicago. He is going to be the setup man for Liam Hendriks the next 3 years, $24 million. Mike, the White Sox keep building. You're going to compete with them over the next 5 years or so. Does this one concern you?
Yeah, of course it does. The White Sox and Rays could be in the ALCS for the next couple years, and Houston.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this is concerning. But my question with the Graveman signing is, what does that mean for Craig Kimbrell? Do you have a three-headed monster at 7, 8, 9 in the bullpen? It obviously shortens your starting pitchers a bit, which is great for them. They can rest them as much as they want. They can mix and match and even rest their closers. Or does this give the White Sox the freedom to deal Kimbrell for some prospects or even a bat at the deadline? So who knows?
This is going to be a scary team.
Yeah.
If they keep Craig Kimbrell, then yeah, it's Hendricks, Kimbrell, and Graveman with Bummer and Garrett Crochet. That's nasty.
Yeah.
That's nasty.
Yeah.
And if they trade Kimbrell off, which fine, like you could certainly do that. They could go get a piece to fill the back end of their rotation.
Mm-hmm.
They could go and find, well, I guess a right fielder is about the biggest weakness they have because it's Adam Engel. Second base might be a problem.
Second base, yeah,
might be a problem. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I could also see them going out and signing Cesar Hernandez back. That wouldn't be terrible. But
yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah.
Finally, the Baltimore Orioles are apparently listening to offers on John Means. John Means had a really nice season last year, and Baltimore, in their infinite wisdom, while all of their kids are about to come up and take over, let's trade away our best pitcher. What? How many other pitchers on the Baltimore Orioles can you name right now without looking?
God. Let's see. None.
The rest of their rotation, according to roster resources, Bruce Zimmerman,
okay,
Keegan Aiken, Zach Lothar, and
Ooh.
Dean Kramer.
Okay, those names are coming back to me because we played them a lot, but that's
But you
horrible.
played them a lot and crushed them. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
they're bad. They're
yeah.
very, very bad. And this team is very, very bad. I don't even see anybody in their bullpen that excites me. Their minor league farm system has Grayson Rodriguez, and that's about it. Who's
Yeah.
probably the top pitching prospect right now.
Well, is the catcher coming up this year?
Yeah, no, he's totally going to be there.
He's up.
Pedro Severino's gone. Like,
This is
that's it. This
Adley's
is
game.
Adley's season. Yeah,
Okay.
Adley's coming up.
Okay.
And you add in Ryan Mountcastle, Trey
Cedric
Mancini, Cedric
Cedric
Mullins.
Mullins.
All
Yeah.
of a sudden, this doesn't look like it's too terrible an offense.
Right, but like you need you need something in the pitching staff.
Yes. Yeah. And they'll go sign Matt Harvey back or go do something. Zach Greinke would fit great here.
Sure. Yeah.
Do a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah.
But why do you trade your best pitcher? Like, why would you do that? You just lost over 110 games.
How old is John Means now?
That's a good question. John Means is currently 28 years old. He'll be 29 right as the season starts.
Okay, so he's in peak performance. Got it.
Yeah.
All right.
And he's locked up through 2024. Like, you get 3 years out of John Means.
Yeah. I don't know.
The Baltimore Orioles really don't think they're going to compete in 3 years.
If they do, if they do feel that way, I feel bad for these guys coming up. I mean,
that sucks.
Yeah.
That sucks. All right, that'll take care of the news. Let's dive into our first base rankings, Mr. Haber. And I asked Jason Ashby a similar question here, and I'll ask you: what do you see as the overall position in 2022? What interesting things did you find from a macro level when you zoom out and look at it? Are there any huge jumps, or is this a deep position? What are we looking at
here? There are some huge jumps. I'd say the top 8 for me are pretty solid, but like this has been historically a position that is rather deep and that provides power, and you still get power sort of like the deeper you go, but like you get high strikeout rates, you get a terrible batting average, and we got a lot of like aging veterans kind of towards the back end of this list as well.
Mm-hmm.
No, I feel like out of all years, I want one of these top 8 guys, or else I'm going to be really unhappy in the bigs next year. Yeah.
So you need one of your top 8.
Yes.
To feel good.
Yeah, because this is following a year where I had Eric Hosmer anchoring first base for me, and it was a weakness until I found Joey Vado. But like, I don't know. I can't do that again. This is a position that you rely on for power and occasional average, and I just didn't get it last year.
Interesting. I mean, first of all, my top 10 doesn't match yours, obviously.
Okay.
It's close, but there are some outliers. I think I would feel comfortable with anybody inside my top 11.
Okay.
And after the 11th guy, I'm sort of like, all right, once we get into who they are, we shall see how we would feel comfortable about it. Number 1 and number 2, exactly the same for both of us. Vlad Guerrero Jr. and Freddie Freeman. Without question, the best first baseman at the position. And Vlad certainly goes above Freddie, despite Freddie having a really nice season.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Vlad's in his own tier for this position. Absolutely.
I would think so. I mean, I don't know that I'm going to see 48, 111 every year. Like if next year he came out and hit 36 home runs, would you be disappointed?
If he hit with the same batting average that he hit this year, I would not be disappointed.
Say a 300 batting average, 36 home runs, 109 RBIs.
No, that's first round.
Okay.
I'd be fine with that.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you could see Freddie Freeman putting up the same numbers, right? 36 home runs, 109 RBIs, a 300 batting average. Like Freddie Freeman could do those things.
He could do those things. He's obviously older than Vlad. He's probably a bit more injury prone, but I could see it.
I wouldn't say he's injury prone. Last 4 seasons, he's missed 4. He's missed 5 games the last 4 years.
I was just gonna say, given his age in comparison to
Oh,
Vlad.
okay, I can understand that, but
yes, no, he's proven his durability. Absolutely.
number 3 is identical for us. It was my guy this past year, Matt Olson, who may be changing teams, and that is there a landing spot that you could see? And I think I know the answer to this question, but is there a landing spot that you could see where you could bump him above one of these first 2 guys, or at least put him into a tier with these guys?
I don't think I'd ever put him above one of these 2 guys. But yes, I could see him in a sort of top tier. Where did you think I was going to put him?
In the
As a landing?
Bronx?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Like his swing, the short porch and right. Are you serious? Like this dude was made to hit in Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
And I think the injury issue with him is behind him as well.
Great.
162 games in 2018, all 60 in 2020, 156 games this past season. He missed a little bit of time in 2019, but still unbelievable power numbers. 35 plus home runs each of the last 2 full seasons, 90 plus RBIs each of the last two full seasons. And I think we found something here with the 271 batting average. Like I think that's more indicative of where he's going to be.
Yeah. And 2 things that I look at with Olson. Number 1, he cut his strikeout rate down big time from, I don't know if you can look at 2020, but 2019 to 2021, cut down the strikeout rate. Number 2, this dude can actually hit left-handed pitching. And for a while, that was his bugaboo. So like, what are this guy's weaknesses? I can't pinpoint any right now.
He's a very good defender as well. He walks plenty, 88 walks to 113 strikeouts this past year. Very, very serviceable in that department.
Yeah.
He's just an all-around really good player. Like I could see this being the next Jason Giambi to get traded or sign with the Yankees from Oakland and have a nice career there.
Yeah. If he brings the batting average up, sure, maybe I could see him ousting Freeman at some point, but I think the batting average is what separates him from the top 2.
I got it. Number 4, exactly the same for us as well, Paul Goldschmidt. Very nice season from Paul Goldschmidt, and I think we're finally seeing what he's going to settle into in St. Louis. If this is it, I think the Cardinals won that trade quite handily. 294 batting average, 365 on base, 31 homers, 99 RBIs, 36 doubles, and 102 runs scored. Like, what more and he chipped in 12 steals because, yeah, that's awesome.
Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now he's got Arenado protecting him. Forget it. This is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
I would absolutely target this guy 3rd round next year. Maybe 2nd round.
Yeah. There was a little fear with this guy because it took him a little longer to warm up in St. Louis than I think was anticipated, especially like coming from Arizona to St. Louis. I think you were expecting him to at least match his production, but this year he proved, you know what? He's still a top tier first baseman.
Yeah, no doubt. And deserves to be in the top 5. All right.
Yeah.
This is where we deviate, Mr. Haber, because at this point, it depends on how you view what you want out of this position. And for you, I can see that you want RBIs, home run totals, batting, like you want this position to kind of carry you.
Yeah.
And if you're more of the feeling like I don't necessarily need this over the top guy and I can wait some, maybe you go for one particular statistic. And for me, it's always been home runs and RBIs.
Okay.
Look at Matt Olson. I just kind of knew he would have 30 plus homers. It was very nice that he gave me a 270 batting average.
Yeah.
Your number 5 is the old standby Jose Abreu. And he was a 2020 MVP. He once again stands the test of time and continues to put up 30 home runs and 100 RBIs. This year it was 30 and 117 with a 261 batting average. Now, last year I said this guy was going to be my bust at the position because you would have to draft him in the 2nd round. And I don't think you were going to get the production you expected. So, was I right?
Yes, but he still gave you great production for like a 3rd or 4th round pick.
Right.
But yes,
So
ultimately you were correct.
I'm not taking a victory lap on this. Like he did what I think everybody drafted him for. I
Yeah.
just think he did it a measurable distance from what he did in 2019 that earned him that second round value in 2021 drafts.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now he's 35, by the way.
Okay.
That's what has him coming down for me. I have him at 7. It's not ridiculous.
Okay.
Um, I have 2 guys in my top tier that we already talked about. I have 4 in the next tier, and Abreu isn't one of them. He
Okay.
starts the 3rd tier for me.
Okay.
Jose Abreu, again, like if you want to wait, if I get him 6th, 7th round value this year, like he was before the 2020 breakout,
Mm-hmm. then
I'm back in on it.
Right.
But
But
I'm not
will he
paying
be
4th
there?
round value for that. I don't think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be there. I don't know.
Number 6 for you is Max Muncie, and he is also not in my second tier of guys. So we haven't hit the guys that I'm looking at here. I have Muncie at 8, right
Okay.
behind Jose Abreu, just as you do, just 2 spots lower.
Okay.
And I just love the fact that this dude is still going to be a very big part of the Dodgers lineup. Like this is the
Mhm.
middle of the Dodgers lineup. 35 plus homers, 90 plus RBIs. It's just a worse batting average, but better walk rate. So
Yeah.
it's what do you value out of this?
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And you know what you're gonna get with him. You know you're gonna get on base percentage. You know you're gonna get those walks. But you know you're gonna get strikeouts too, and you know you're gonna get a batting average. Probably, actually think the 250 average he hit this year was a bit inflated. I think it'll come down a little bit. So
Let's take a look. So his expected batting average was actually 268, and he hit
okay,
249. So he should have hit almost 20 points better. But
okay,
he had a BABIP of 257. Like, that's not good. That's not
right.
good. And that, my friends, is what the shift does. I digress. Your number 7 is my number 6. So this is inside that next tier. It's
Okay.
Austin Riley.
Mhm.
Now, Austin Riley had a tremendous 2022, and
Mhm.
I kind of figured that this was the put up or shut up season for him, and he most certainly put up 303 batting average,
Yeah.
367 on base, and 898 OPS with 33 homers, 107 RBIs, 91 runs scored. If you're going to tell me that Freddie Freeman is going to come back to this team and Austin Riley's still going to hit 4th, I'm all in.
Yeah. Yeah. And you got Ozzy Albies and Acuna. Yeah. I'll take that.
Yeah. He is 24 years old. He'll be 25 right as the season starts on April 2nd. I, I love everything about this. I think it's a tremendous upside, and it hurts me that I have to watch this as well.
Now, if Freeman doesn't come back to the Braves,
He
two
might drop
questions.
into the next tier.
Okay, so he drops, and is he the everyday first baseman?
I would imagine so, unless they go out and sign somebody. Like, I always thought Brandon Belt was going to be the backup for anybody who missed out on Anthony Rizzo and Freddie Freeman,
Okay.
right? So now that Belt's locked up, like, what's left?
Yeah, not much.
If Freddie Freeman walks, what do the Braves do? They have to go get Anthony Rizzo then, and if they don't get him, then they're really up shit's creek.
Right, because who's their third baseman if Riley plays first?
Right? They could go sign Chris Bryant, I suppose.
They could.
I don't know. It would be interesting to see, but at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure Freeman's coming back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your number 8, Mike, is my number 5. And
Wow. Okay.
yeah, this is the other one in that crew, and I'm actually wearing his jersey right now. He should be the next captain of the New York Mets. It's Pete Alonso, and in a season where the entire Mets team was in turmoil at one point or another, this dude just kept producing. 262 batting average, 344 on base, uh, 37 home runs, 94 RBIs. If you're going to tell me that this dude is going to hit 260 with 35 plus home runs for the next 5 or 6 years, I'm all in on that. And
Mhm.
I don't see a reason why he can't do that. In the shortened 2020 campaign, He had a 231 batting average and a 326 on base percentage, but still hit 16 home runs. The power will always be there. And if
Mhm.
you're going to tell me that 230 is the floor, fine. But what's the ceiling? I don't know that I think we've seen it in the power department his rookie year, but I
Mhm.
don't know that the batting average can't tip out to like 280.
So do you see this guy? So I look at him and I don't see a lot of difference between him and Abreu. So how did you consider the comparison of Abreu and Alonso, like given their lineup discrepancies, given the fact that they're both around 260 hitters, both strike out a bit?
Uh,
Is it the age?
that's certainly part of it. That's
Okay.
certainly part of it. Now the good part is that they have, Andrew Vaughn to spell him at first base. He can play DH if he wants to.
Mm,
I get all of that, but what I bring it down to is the fact that a lot of these numbers are similar, but Pete Alonso again is much younger, by 10 years younger,
hmm.
and I don't know. The Mets can't be any worse than they were this past year, and Pete Alonso was their best baseball player by far.
Right. Right. I mean, yeah, I guess you got to think they're going to fill some pieces in around him. It just scares me a little bit, like who is protecting this guy?
For the moment, for the moment, he should be hitting right behind Francisco Lindor, who should be hitting behind Brandon Nimmo. That should be our top three.
Yes.
That would give Alonso all of the potential in the world. You just got to get somebody to hit behind
To
him.
hit behind him. Yeah.
All right. That is the top eight, and we agree on the top eight, just in a different order.
Okay.
And that I think is where the first big drop is, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I think so.
Your number 9 is an interesting choice. I have him at 11.
Okay.
I guess he's a little less proven, but again, you're going to see that we're not that far off on this guy, Jared Walsh, the only guy on the Angels other than Shohei Ohtani to have a good season.
Hmm.
So that does give us some promise here going into 2022. This past season, 277 batting average, 340 on base, 29 homers, 98 RBIs. The strikeouts are up a little bit from the guys above him. The walks are a bit down from the guys above him.
Hmm.
70 runs scored. 34 doubles is nice, though.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
how much of a discount do you think you're going to get from these top eight guys to Jared Walsh?
I think you're gonna get a decent discount because of what you said. Like he's kind of like an under the radar player. He really is. And like when you think of the Angels lineup in this coming year, he's not even the third scariest guy. He's the fourth scariest guy in that team. So like who's gonna get pitches to hit? Jared Walsh. I mean, if Trout and Rendon and Otani can all stay healthy and get on base in front of this guy, like you're going to have a lot of production opportunities with a player that's undervalued and underappreciated. So
No
that's why
doubt.
he's ranked at 9.
No doubt. And I get the excitement. I just have two guys in front of him that have proven they can do this more, and I like the situations better
Okay.
because the Angels, the lineup will be fine.
Mhm.
Otani, Trout, Walsh, Rendon. Then what? Upton?
Upton, I guess.
Okay. Then what? Max Stassi?
Max Stassi, you got Fletcher there, I guess, somewhere.
Whatever they do at shortstop? Like, go out and sign Carlos Correa or something.
Yeah.
And then I'll
Yeah.
believe in this because this lineup is very top heavy.
Hmm.
Like Tyler Wade is their starting shortstop now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't like it at all. The next
It's
guy on the
fair.
list for you, your number 10 is Joey Votto. He's who I have at 9.
Okay.
Look, the guy is timeless. He damn near drove you to a championship in the second half.
Yeah.
And I think he's figured something out here late in his career. 15 years in the bigs this past season, 266 with a 375 on base, 36 homers, 99 RBIs, and 73 runs scored. Are you concerned about the lineup changing around him?
Yes, I am. I'm concerned that Castellanos is gone. I'm concerned that Mike Moustakas is not a person. Um, I do have concerns with that lineup. I have concerns also with look, it wasn't like he went on like a 10-game hot streak. Like he was hot for like 2.5 months. He proved that he could sustain it, and whatever change he made to his stance, he sacrificed contact for power. And you know what? It paid off for him. He was arguably he played himself into the MVP discussion.
Yeah.
Which was crazy for someone who was over the hill.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah. In the first half of 2021, 257 average, 347 on base, 11 homers, 40 RBIs. Second half, 274 average, a 400 on base percentage, good for a 1.057 OPS, 25 home runs, 59 RBIs. Sick.
Yeah.
And you know he's an on-base machine. Regardless of what he's going to do in the power department, he's an on-base machine. And that, to me, screams of somebody that I want to move up my rankings, because I know that I can always count on that. If I want to get that squared away here, I've got him for that.
But who is protecting this guy in the lineup? And that, I feel like that is a legitimate concern.
And I'm worried that the Reds are about to clean house and finish 4th in the Central next year.
Yeah, and it's Jonathan India, Joey Vado, and like a bunch of scrubs.
Yeah, maybe lineup. Jesse Winker sticks in.
And
there's
Tyler,
no pitching.
Yeah.
And, you've got Kyle Farmer at short.
Yeah. Stevenson as a catcher.
Yeah.
Something like that.
We're gonna skip my number 10 and we're gonna go to number 11 for you.
Okay.
Which is CJ Crone. I have CJ Crone at 20. I get Colorado's really good, man, but like, what is it? Just Colorado that pushes him that far up for you?
Yes. He's not. He's not a guy I would target if he was on any other team. Let's put it that way.
But he would plummet out of the top 20 for you if he went to anywhere else.
If he went to a pitcher-friendly park, he would plummet out of the top 20.
Gotcha. I have him at 20 because, you could totally draft him and just play him in cores, but then what are you going to do? His home road splits were atrocious last year, dude. 326 batting average, 412 on base, good for a 1.073 OPS with 19 home runs and 68 RBIs at home. On the road, 235 batting average, 337 on base percentage, a 734 OPS with 9 homers and 24 RBIs.
Yeah. No, it's not good.
No. And I'm not putting him above a lot of the dudes that you have him in front of.
Okay.
Like if you value cores that much to get half of a player, when you can get a whole Ryan Mountcastle.
Okay.
Like,
and Ryan
Mountcastle's the guy I have right above him at 19.
Okay.
I should put that out there, but
yeah.
He had more homers. He had 3 fewer RBIs with similar batting average. Oh no, Crone hit 281 this last year.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like his overall numbers were pretty impressive, but
but that's not happening. I will do a show shirtless and I will buy a CJ Crone jersey if he hits over 280 next year.
Deal.
Okay.
Deal.
Moving on. Your number 12 is my number 13. So we're right in line here. This is definitely the 4th tier for me, I would say.
Okay.
And it's DJ LeMahieu. Now, you're a Yankee fan. I'm going to give you the floor on DJ LeMahieu.
Okay. I had this guy in a similar spot for our second base rankings, somewhere around 12, 13. DJ LeMahieu is a player who came into 2021 with kind of the weight of the team on his shoulders. He was heralded as the MVP of the Yankees in 2020. He was the guy that carried the team on his shoulders into the postseason, and contributed in 2019 in the postseason too. And like that huge home run he hit against Houston to tie the game before we lost. Right. But this is a guy who came into 2021 with the contract signed and with all the pressure carrying on his shoulders of like, hey, you're our only contact dude. So your job is to get on base and hit for batting average. And okay, so he had a bad year. Can he bounce back and recover? Absolutely. At the top of this Yankees lineup with a fresh start and, the same hitters hitting behind him.
Yeah.
I think he's in line for a huge bounce back.
Yeah, he still scored 84 runs.
Yeah.
He had a 350 on base percentage.
You just can't expect this guy to hit 25 homers and 100 RBIs because it's not the kind of hitter he is. But if you go in hoping for a 290 batting average and 15 homers and even 80 RBIs.
80 RBIs would be surprising.
Yeah.
He was in the 60s at best in Colorado before he had that 2019 season with the Yankees.
Right.
Cool. He was great. And he hit 364 in 60 games last season.
Yeah.
He had a bad year. We're going to give him a pass. And I still like the lineup.
Yeah.
Your number 13 is my number 12, so we flip-flop on these guys. Jake Cronenworth. My only feeling is that I like the versatility he has over the versatility Lemayo will.
Okay.
First, second, and short is nice with an outfield position potentially versus just first, second, and third.
Yeah.
And that literally is the hair split here because Cronenworth is a fun dude to watch. He's in a good part of the lineup. He basically does the same thing you would expect from DJ LeMahieu with a little bit more power.
Yeah.
You want him to score 100 runs. If he hits 280, that'd be great. Just a decent on-base percentage, steal me some bags, and pop me 20 homers. That'd be great.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see it.
Plus, San Diego can't be worse, can they?
No, they can't be worse. They have to be better. They have to be.
Number 14 for you is my number 18. That's Yuli Gurriel. Tell me about Yuli Gurriel.
So I don't know if you remember, Joe, but this was my sleeper last year for this position for first base. And I don't even think he was on anyone else's ranking. Or maybe it was third base.
Third base, I would imagine.
Base.
Look, I like the batting average, but 15 homers, 80 RBIs, and 80 runs scored.
Okay, but look at DJ LeMahieu. Isn't that what we're looking for from DJ? And
DJ, you want 100 runs scored.
You want 100 runs scored.
You expect to have 100 runs scored in that lineup.
But this guy just won the batting title.
True. Nice on base percentage. I will say he does not strike out very much, so that's certainly something that I could move him up for. But just the 15 homers, man. Like if you're set that this needs to be one of your potential to drive in runs and be a power hitter, this guy can't be where you got. Because there's some names behind him that I'm pretty shocked aren't further up because that's what you're looking for.
But I'm also looking at the batting average and the idea of 2021 was probably a little bit higher than what he usually sits. But this is a guy his career batting average can't be any lower than 285, 290, right?
293 lifetime batting average.
Yeah.
He's a good hitter. He's a good hitter, but he's also turning 38. I don't know. I don't know how much longer this can last, but maybe one more year. That's all you're asking for, right?
Yeah.
Your number 15 is my number 19. We have them back-to-back the same way, just further down the list. This is Ryan Mountcastle, and I think I like this kid.
Yeah. I'm actually shocked you have him as low as 19.
Mm-hmm. I just can't justify putting him in front of some of the guys I have in front of him.
Okay.
But a 255 batting average, a 309 on base percentage. I'd like to see him cut down on the strikeouts. He struck out 160 times in 144 games. I'd like to see him cut down on that. 24, 77 runs scored, 33 home runs, 89 RBIs. Yeah, this is trending in the right way, in the right direction. He turns 25 in February. So this is the right time to jump in on this guy.
Yeah, and a lot of people tend to forget, but this guy had an atrocious start to the season last year where he was almost demoted. So imagine this guy actually got off to a hot start and you're looking at, an uptick in his power and his RBIs and his batting average, fewer strikeouts. I just think it took him a while to warm up to big league pitching again. But
interestingly enough, in the first half, he hit 255 with 14 homers and 48 RBIs. Second half, he hit 54 with 19 homers and 41 RBIs.
Okay.
It's a weird dude. The only thing I'm seeing here that I think is interesting is that the home road splits are kind of Colorado-esque. 274 with a 316 on base, 22 homers, 49 RBIs at home. 233 batting average, 11 homers, and 40 RBIs on the road.
Okay.
Concerns me. That concerns me
Yeah.
a little bit.
Okay.
The next guy on your list is finally the guy I have back at number 10. You have him at 16.
Wow. All right.
Dude, if Kyle Schwarber goes back to Boston, I'm all in.
Okay.
I am all in on that. Like, this dude had himself a season and showed us, like, I always wondered what it would be when Kyle Schwarber left the Cubs, because they were talking about trading him for a long, long time. The Yankees were in on trying to trade for this guy. He's 28 now. He's going into his year 29 season, and 266 average, 32 homers, 71 RBIs in 113 games. That's 40 homer upside. That's 100 RBIs. That's pretty damn good. And his time with Boston was good, a 291 average with a 430 on base percentage. Let's not forget about the tear he went on as the leadoff hitter in Washington. Really like Kyle Schwarber in a positional ranking where there are a lot of question marks. You can probably bank on 30 homers from this guy.
You want to know the one reason why I have him down where I have him?
What?
The only thing that concerns me is the platoon. And because you have Bobby Delbeck, because you have some of these guys that can hit the ball from the right side of the plate, it worries me that this guy will not get playing time against lefties. And that's the Brandon Belts thing that scares me too. And we didn't talk about Belts, but like this idea that there are players that can play this position. And anytime I'm getting close to a platoon, I don't want to necessarily put this guy or depend on this guy as my starting first baseman.
I can understand that, but if you can then back him up with somebody that's further down on the list that'll have some decent playing time too. There's a name that you have inside your top 20 that I have at 30, but it would pair really nice.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll move on to actually, it's this guy, the next guy on your list. Your number 17, I have at 30.
Okay.
But I have every belief that this guy could fly up rankings in the spring. Frank Schwindel had a 300 at bat. I'm sorry, he had a 222 at bat appearance this year. Essentially, just a 2020 season. Right? He had 64 games, 14 homers, 43 RBIs, a 326 batting average with a 371 on base percentage. I don't think he's going to do that.
Okay.
But what if he's like a 285, 25, and 75 guy?
I could see it.
That's pretty decent, right?
I could see
you
that.
You don't have to rank him 17th.
Right.
To get
right.
That.
Right.
I don't think I'm asking for much there,
Yeah. I mean, this guy proved he can handle big league pitching, and
he had a 348 batting average on balls in play. That is insanely lucky.
Okay. There was some luck involved for sure.
Yeah.
But would I be surprised if he hit 300 and maybe hit 30 home runs?
I think I would be
would you?
surprised if he hit 300. I'd be surprised.
But 30 home runs?
There's not really much protection in that lineup. Granted, I would have to wait on that and find out what that lineup looks like on opening day.
Okay. All right.
Before I made that decision. Like,
sure.
I could see it, but I'm not ready to say, yeah, Frank Schwindel can hit 30 bombs.
Okay.
Not ready to say that.
Okay.
Now, the guy you have behind him is a guy I do think could hit 30 bombs.
Okay.
Josh Bell at 18 for you. I have him at 22, just a little bit further down. I liked the home in Washington. Could I see him getting traded? Well, yeah, he's a free agent after 2022. So we'll see what happens with him. But a pretty nice bounce back season in 2021. 27 home runs, 88 RBIs, 260 batting average with a 350 on base percentage, 75 runs in 144 games. Like, that's pretty solid.
Yeah. It was a quietly solid year.
Yeah. Yeah. That, you know what, like, you're not getting a whole lot of expectations in Washington right now. You get
Right.
to reap the benefit of always having Juan Soto on in front of you.
Yeah.
I like it.
It's true. It's true. It's a guy that he's been up and down a lot.
Mhm.
And I don't know if this is going to be a down year. It's just one of those, like, do you trust his consistency things?
Yeah. Yeah. I can respect that feeling. Look, I have him outside the top 20, but
Yeah.
I've got a couple of. I would like you to apologize to Anthony Rizzo. Anthony Rizzo is your number 19. Why?
I don't know where he's going. And
Okay.
I don't know where he's going, and his power bat is not what it used to be. Yeah, he can get on base, but he doesn't really hit for a high average. So if you're not getting power and a high average, what are you getting from this guy?
2021 was a pretty down year for him across the
Yeah,
board.
yeah,
248 batting average, 344 on base percentage, 22 homers, 61 RBIs across two teams. What if he just
yeah.
didn't give a shit this year because he was on the Cubs and he's like, whatever, I'll just take my walks and walk into free agency and oh shit, I'm on the Yankees, because he did okay with the Yankees.
He did okay.
Like
He did
50 games,
okay.
he hit 8 homers, 21 RBIs, the same batting average. Like this is just might be who he is with like a 250, 255 batting average. But the on base percentage is pretty damn impressive.
Yeah, the on base percentage is fine, but if you're hitting second in this lineup, sure, I'll sign up for that. But if you're hitting fourth or fifth, you need to drive the ball a little bit more than you did this year. So between him and Joey Gallo, like, the expectations were off the charts
Yeah. Yeah. I
for
have him
two
at
lefties.
15. I have him at 15 with DJ LeMahieu at 13. Can you guess who number 14 is?
Luke Voigt.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Like whoever ends up being the Yankees first baseman is who's going to take that spot in my ranking, and the other
Okay.
two are going to drop. Now,
Okay.
if Rizzo goes off and signs in Boston, that's going to be awesome. If he goes and signs in Atlanta, that would be pretty cool. I don't see him going to a shit rebuilding team.
Right.
So he's going to go somewhere decent, but I think he'll drop. And Luke Voigt might be a trade piece to go get Matt
Yeah.
Olson. So,
Yes. Yeah. Agreed. And I don't know if Luke Voigt is a starter if he goes somewhere else. I mean, we'll see. If he goes to Oakland, of course he's
I
a
would
starter.
imagine he would start in Oakland. I don't think
Yeah.
there's anybody there that's really like Seth Brown isn't a human yet.
No. No.
All right, moving on. Your number 20 is Ryan McMahon. We talked about him a lot in the second base preview. I think we'll just skip him.
Mhm.
Ty France, we also talked about quite a bit in the second base podcast.
Yep.
I have Ty France at 28, mostly because, not because I don't believe in the playing time, I just don't believe he's a 290 hitter.
Okay.
Jesus Aguilar at 22 for you. I have Aguilar at 26, relatively the same area. I do like the Marlins next year.
Okay.
Thoughts on any of those four guys I just mentioned?
No, I mean, well, we covered McMahon in France, but Aguilar was on pace for a pretty big year this past season. And then he got hurt. Never really fully recovered, I guess. But yeah, I mean, hey, if this guy starts off next year like he did this year and could stay healthy, like, he could be a big run producer for the Marlins.
Yeah,
On a
93
team.
RBIs on a pretty bad
Yeah.
Marlins team. You're
Yeah.
going to tell me a full season of Jazz Chisholm and Miguel Rojas at the top of the lineup, and then, like, I don't know, fill in the blank with whoever's there. But like, Aguilar is certainly a safe, dependable source of RBIs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Number 23 is for you. Is where do I have him? I have him at 23 as well. Same spot. Rhys
Hey.
Hoskins. Rhys Hoskins. What do you want to say about Rhys Hoskins? Is he a disappointment?
Yeah. I mean, this is a guy I had no idea where to place him, honestly. Like, can he finish in the top 15? Sure.
Yeah.
Can he
I even
finish?
think he has a ceiling in top 10.
Yeah, he does. But would I be shocked to see him finish outside of the top 30? I don't think so.
Right.
So, like,
Right.
23 felt safe to me. He's going to get on base. He's going to hit for some power, but he's going to strike out, and he's going to have a low batting average. So, like,
he's what protecting Bryce Harper, and he's doing a piss poor job of it.
yeah.
That's what this boils down to. Like Bryce Harper had a really great MVP season, and if Rhys Hoskins even put up a decent season, they're probably a playoff team.
Yeah.
And he missed a ton of time,
Yeah.
107 games. So
Right.
I
Right.
want to make sure he's healthy.
Yeah.
Your number 24 is Spencer Torkelson. I'm going to wait to talk about him until the third base show. I think that's a better spot for him.
Okay.
Lourdes Gurriel, I'm going to wait until we talk about outfield for him. I feel like that's a better spot to talk about him as well.
Okay.
So let's run through my rankings and see who we missed. Guerrero and Freeman 1 and 2. Olson, Goldschmidt, Alonso, and Riley is 3 through 6. Abreu, Muncie, Vado, and Schwerberg finish out my top 10. 11 is Jared Walsh. 12 is Cronenworth. 13, Lemayo. 14 is Voit. We talked about him. If he goes to Oakland, I don't think I'm going to move him too far down.
Okay.
15 is Rizzo. 16 is a guy you didn't have on your list. And I'm not surprised. You pretty much hate this guy. You said so on the second base show. It's Brandon Lau. Number 17 is Chris Bryant. And I feel like Chris Bryant belongs somewhere on your list. I don't know why he doesn't make that list.
Okay.
But 17 is a decent spot for him. I'd like to see him go somewhere decent. Is there a reason he missed your list?
Look, he got off to a really hot start, which is what I needed from him last year. But his second half was wildly underwhelming. He was basically a bench player for me towards the end of the season. I don't know where he's going to end up. I don't know if he's actually what he was in his rookie of the year season, in his MVP season. I feel like maybe it's just an instinct thing, but he can't replicate the same power, the same on base percentage, the same average. Like he's kind of a shell of himself at the moment. If he goes back to San Francisco for a full year, like maybe I'd throw him on the list because I like their team a lot. But like, can you attribute it to the fact that he wanted out of Chicago for so long and there were like trade rumors circulating all season? Maybe, but like I don't know.
I think I think the position eligibility alone gives him a much better leg up at this position than someone like Rhys Hoskins.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't hate the idea of him being your first base option. I would much rather play him at third or at a corner outfield spot. What you said about the first and second half splits is interesting. 271 batting average, 353 on base, 16 homers and 46 RBIs in the first half. 9 homers, 27 RBIs, a 257 batting average, a 354 on base. He maintained the on base percentage, but definitely lost and got zapped of his power. So we'll have to see where he lands. I would love to see him go to like Cincinnati, but that's not going to happen. So
yeah. Oh, if he goes to one of those ballparks, those hitter friendly parks, he's definitely going to jump into my top 25.
18 was Gurriel, 19 was Mountcastle, 20 was Crone, 21. You've got Spencer Torkelson, but no love for Jonathan Schoop?
Yeah, no, I don't. No, Jonathan Schoop is great. He's a good player. Do I think he's going to match what he did in 2021? I don't think so. I think he's going to regress a bit.
So he hit 293 with 32 and 105 in Baltimore as a 25-year-old in 2017. He hits 278 this year, 22 home runs at 84 RBIs, and this isn't the believable season? You think he's going to regress beyond this?
I do. See, I think that batting average comes down.
Okay, so say it's 265.
Okay.
25 homers and 85 RBIs in a decent now Detroit Tigers lineup. I think that belongs over Rhys Hoskins.
Yes, but see, I'd rather have this guy as my second baseman than as my first baseman.
Absolutely. Agreed. I don't disagree with that at all. 22 was Josh Bell. 23 was Rhys Hoskins. 24 for me is Lourdes Gurriel. Heimer Candelario makes my top 25 for much of the same reason that Jonathan Schoop does. Like, I really like what this Tigers lineup is becoming. And not for nothing, Candelario led the league in doubles this past year. I don't think the home runs are going to be much more than what they were this year at 16. Maybe he can crack 20. But it's Comerica. Like, you're just being sapped there.
Yeah, but it's a big park, and he can continue to rake with his extra base hits.
Yeah.
which is great. Yeah.
All right, we're gonna quickly run through the rest of these. Pick a guy. I'm gonna name 5 names. If you have anything to say on any of the 5 of them, great.
Okay.
Brandon Belt, Trey Mancini, Nathaniel Lowe, Eric Hosmer. Let's start with those 4.
You want me to talk about Eric Hosmer?
If you want to talk about Eric Hosmer.
No, I don't have much left to say. I think the podcast world doesn't want to hear anything else from me about Eric Hosmer. But I will never trust the guy again as my starting first baseman. I don't think he offers anything that I'm looking for as a first baseman. Yeah, he's in a great lineup. Yeah, he's set up for success, but I don't think he's the type of hitter that I want as my anchor of first base. What do you like about him?
I don't. I have him at 31.
Okay.
I have him behind. I'm sorry, 32. I have him behind Nathaniel Lowe. I have him behind Brandon Belt. I have him behind Trey Mancini. Like, the guy all of a sudden just lost all sense. Like, you say he's in a great lineup, but he doesn't score runs and he doesn't drive in runs.
Yeah.
And he had a 730 OPS. That's not good.
No.
That's not good at all. In fact, that's like a 7 hitter.
You're right.
All right. Colin Moran, Bobby Dahlbeck, Alec Baum.
Ooh, Alec Baum really fell from earth, didn't he?
Didn't he? That's a shame, isn't it?
It is. It is. So who knows what's going to happen to that guy? But
yeah. I mean, you couldn't really believe that 338 with a 400 on base in 44 games in 2020 was real.
Right.
But you assumed it would be better than 247 with a 305, 7 homers in 47 games and 47 RBIs in 115 games.
Right.
Like, he was lost out there. And fine, like, you had a bad 24-year-old sophomore.
Yeah.
I might take a flyer on you in the late round.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yandy Diaz, Carlos Santana, Rowdy Tellez.
Okay. I know how you feel about Tellez.
Love Tellez.
I know you love Tellez. Santana, though, is interesting as far down as he is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't disagree with him being as far down as he is. I know that our commissioner would probably disagree.
I think.
But would he? I don't know.
Here's the thing. Like, I know Ben will draft him again, but I don't think he would give up a top 12 to 15 pick for the guy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he's another one. Just fell off the face of the earth. Everything that you draft this guy for, he didn't do.
He still walked a lot.
Did he walk
a whole lot this past year? 86 times.
Okay. All right.
He just didn't hit worth a shit again. He hit 214.
Right. Right.
19 homers, 15 doubles, 66 runs scored. Like, he wasn't good by any measure, other than the fact that he walked a lot.
You know, the Bobby Dahlbeck is interesting too.
Yeah.
I just think it's the playing time for him, but I think that this is a guy that is capable of like a 25 to 30 home run season.
He just put up 25 in 2020 or 2021 rather. 240. It's just the strikeouts and the non-existent walks, man. A 298 percentage is hideous.
Yeah.
156 strikeouts. Like, that's not good.
No, it's not. It's not. He's got to earn playing time too.
Absolutely. Miguel Sano, Christian Walker, Dom Smith, Albert Pujols, G-Man Choi, Dan Vogelbach. Any of those guys?
What are you expecting from Dom Smith this year as a Mets fan?
To not be a Met.
Okay.
Yeah. I think we're gonna end up trading him and JD Davis for something. I just don't know what yet.
Do you see Dom Smith being another Chris Flexen who goes to a different team and thrives and suddenly turns into this 320 hitter?
If you're going to tell me that Dom Smith and JD Davis would land me Matt Chapman and a pitcher from Oakland, I would be pretty excited about that.
Matt Chapman and Chris Bassett.
Sure. Whichever one of the three. I would personally take Sean Manaea because he's a lefty. But him, Frankie Montas, Chris Bassett, like, pick one. And
Okay.
to me, they're all similar guys. Like one of them is going to bust, one of them is going to be great, one of them is just going to be fine. That's how
Right.
that's going to happen.
Okay. Okay.
Regardless, like you give me Matt Chapman after the terrible season he's had, but one season removed from a hip thing, and
Hmm.
you send Dom Smith out there as the first base option because you're going to lose fucking Matt Olson anyway.
Yeah.
I think that fits a lot better. And then you don't have to go get Luke Voigt, and you're
True.
not playing Dom Smith in the outfield. Like I think that's the better option.
And it
But
really solidifies your left side of the infield. It's like
yeah,
defensively, it's like
yeah, that's what
nothing's
I'm
getting
looking
through
for.
there. Yeah.
Exactly, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
All right, let's do sleepers, breakout, busts, and comebacks. We're going to start with your sleeper. Did you want to pick a different one? I see you have Spencer Torkelson here. We'll probably do that on the third base pod.
Yeah. So I'll pick a different one. I'm going to go with a guy we didn't mention,
Okay.
and that is Alex Kiriloff, the Twins.
Nice. Nice. What do you got on this
This
kid?
this is a kid that was starting to heat up and figure things out, starting to rake, and then got hurt.
You remember whose
And
team he was on when he got hurt?
I was playing him the week before he got hurt. It wasn't you. You didn't have
Yeah,
him,
it
did you?
fucking was.
You did
Yeah,
have
it
him?
fucking was. Because I just another one of these names that got hurt on my team. And I dropped him.
Did
And
you
then
have him the whole season though?
no, Jason had him for a period of time and
I
dropped him.
think it was I think it was Jason who I was playing against.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Where
yeah.
this guy just went bananas against me.
Mhm.
So I could see this guy like quietly sneaking back into the Twins lineup. He's got Sano behind him. He's gonna have Mitch Garver in the lineup. He's got Polanco. And I could see this guy actually like quietly having a big season and climbing up my ranks very quickly.
He's only 23 years old. He hit 251. He had a bad on base percentage. He only had 14 walks.
Yeah, he's young. Yeah.
Yeah, 8 homers, 34 RBIs. Like it's a little early for me to
Hmm?
for me to start eyeing this kid to be a starter. But if he pays off, man, like this could work. My only thing is like where you, I guess with the D with Nelson Cruz gone from the Twins, you're assuming that Miguel Sano's now the DH full time,
Probably.
and therefore
Probably.
Kiriloff is the starting first baseman. So long as you can tell me he's going to get playing time, yeah, he belongs inside the top. I don't know, 35 or so.
I think he could play the outfield too, though.
Yeah, I think he did.
I know
Yeah,
he's left. Yeah, he's left and right eligible.
that's huge. That's actually
Yeah.
pretty huge. That could bump him up
Yeah.
a few more spots just on position eligibility.
Yeah.
My sleeper at first base this year, I hate to admit that I'm going to go back to the well on this, but Nathaniel Lowe, man, like
Interesting.
Texas
Okay.
is gonna do something,
They are.
and they paid a lot of. They got this kid from Tampa. I think the hit tool is real. I
Okay.
think the walk tool is huge. 80 walks this past season, like
Hmm.
that's legit.
Hmm.
If he could just cut down on the strikeout rate, which is 25% right now and not very good. In the last couple of rounds, I'll take a dude who's going to give me close to 20 homers and hit in the middle of a lineup. Hitting in the middle of a lineup is important. 75 runs scored, 72 RBIs. Like that's not awful from like a round 24, 25 pick.
He stole 8 bases too.
Yeah, yeah. And if he breaks out and hits 30 bombs, you look like a fucking genius.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I could see it.
Who is your breakout for the 2021?
I'm gonna go with Frankie Schwindel. We already talked about him, but I see this kid getting a full season under his belt, and like I said earlier, I could see 30 homers. I could see 80 to 90 RBIs. I could see a 280 to 290 batting average, and for me, that would be a breakout.
That would be huge. The 280 to
Yeah.
290 would. I'm going to go with Ryan Mountcastle.
Nice.
I think
Yeah.
somebody in Baltimore is going to explode again. It was Cedric Mullins in 2021. It was in 2019. It was Trey Mancini. It just
Mhm.
seems to be this guy's turn next, and
Yeah.
275 with 35 and 100 would be beautiful.
Yeah. It's doable. Very doable.
Who don't you want to touch? Who's your bust?
Well, this is a tough call, but I'm actually going to go with Max Muncy. And the reason why is his batting average is just it's scary to me, and I don't know why, but this guy reminds me a little bit of Mike Zunino in the fact that like he hits for power, he can take his walks, but like would I be shocked to see him hit like 215? No. And did he even break the Mendoza line in 2020? I know it was 2020, but what he hit like
Um,
190 or something.
he wasn't very good. Muncie hit 192 in 2020.
Yeah. And that, I mean, granted it was 60 games, but it's a little more than a third of the season. And
Right.
it's I wouldn't be shocked to see him hit 215, 220 and fall into that like Gary Sanchez, like, okay, I can hit for some power, I can get on base, but like I'm gonna strike out a lot and I'm not gonna get hit for average. So that's my fear with Muncie.
Last year, I gave you Jose Abreu as my bust candidate. He didn't return the value that you were going to fork over in the second round. I'm going to double down on that and take him for the 2022 season to do worse
Wow.
than he did this year.
Okay.
I think this will be the first season he does not do 30 and 100. I
Okay.
think this will be the first time he doesn't have a tremendously good on base percentage.
Okay.
I could see him being moved down the lineup with Eloy Jimenez and Luis Robert and Yoan Moncada and Tim Anderson being in some semblance the top four. Yasmani Grandal at 5. Andrew Vaughn or Gavin Sheets could be the next dudes to really take off and just keep shoving him a little bit further down the lineup, which lengthens this lineup and makes it a good lineup. It just won't put him specifically in the right position to
Mm,
be what you would need to shell out probably a fourth or fifth round pick for.
okay. All right.
Finally, your comeback player at first base.
It's got to be DJ. For all the reasons I mentioned earlier. I mean, not just a homer pick here. This is a legitimate uh batting title threat every year. And I could see him returning, maybe not to the 330 or 356 average he had in 2020, but like I could see him returning to about a 300 average and scoring 100 runs. And, you know, you can get him at an incredible value this year. So I could see this guy coming back and not being drafted until a lot later in our league. I think he went third round this past year.
Yeah, that sounds about right. If not second.
Yeah, second or third round.
Yeah.
So if you can, how far do you think DJ falls this next year?
Oh, let me see. DJ LeMahieu in NFBC ADP's 15 completed drafts has an average draft of 122nd.
Okay.
However, he has a the latest pick he has is 175, and the earliest he's been is 94. So there's a huge gap in
Okay.
where he's going. Doing math for us, let's take 122 and divide by 16. That's middle of the eighth round. I think that's fair. I
would
would
you
take
take
him in the
him
middle
there?
of the eighth round.
Okay.
Yeah, I absolutely
Yeah.
would. Especially if, I've already got 3 pitchers. If I've already got 3 starters at that point and I need another bat, buying in on that guy is good.
Yeah.
And
And
he would be my
if you
fifth hitter.
fifth hitter, you already have power. You're already going to have some contact. I think
Right. Right.
you're getting eligibility.
Triple eligibility is huge. That locks up my infield by that point. I would imagine I'm playing him at second base, and I would go first, third, early with an outfielder, maybe.
Something like, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's your whole strategy, Joe. Thanks. I just wrote it down.
All right, awesome. You guys can come back to this. We'll see. My comeback player. You know what's difficult about finding a comeback player on this particular list is like everybody played a ton of games. Like
True.
600 bats for Guerrero and Freeman and Goldschmidt and 550 or more for Olson and Alonso and Abreu. Like, so by that token, if Luke Voigt goes out next year and hits 25 homers, drives in 80 runs for wherever he is, and hits 265 again, that'd be a comeback, right? That'd be a pretty good comeback. Okay.
That's comeback. Yeah.
So I'll take that guy. And I just believe in the talent. I think that he's kind of I think he's kind of deserves better than what the Yankees have done to him, if I'm
Oh, I
honest.
agree. I agree.
And maybe a fresh start is good for him. Of course, it could also be the end of his career because I think he's just kind of built to hit in Yankee Stadium. And
And he never fully recovered from whatever bugged him, whatever injury it was. It was a knee, it was something else, but he never fully recovered in
he had a
2021. So
he had a foot thing in 2020. He had a
yeah,
sports hernia, I think. He's just been
something.
banged up a lot.
Yeah. So I don't trust it, which is why I think they're gonna get a Matt Olson or a Rizzo but hey, he could end up on a team where he produces. So I
Yeah,
could see
he
it.
could certainly be the first baseman of the Oakland A's for the next 3 years. Like I could see
Yeah.
that being a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Mike Haber, this has been a tremendous, tremendous discussion here. We have one final thing to discuss after our rankings, and it seems like we're doing this at every episode now, and this isn't the
Yeah.
intent, but we have to say goodbye to Doug Jones this week, who passed away. Former closer for, I don't know, what was it, 7 or 8 teams, I said. He's
Yeah.
he's not a guy that, and we talked about this off air, that he retired in 2000. So we were teenagers when he retired. So we probably
Mm,
don't know the best of Doug Jones because we were too young.
yeah.
Um, but the one big thing I wanted to talk about Doug Jones about was you had asked me off air a couple of shows ago how you get started in collecting cards. And at some point, I
Hmm.
promise I'm going to do my collection. But like Doug Jones was one of the best through the mail signers. This
Mm,
I have a 4 set right here. I sent all 4 to him. He signed all 4 of them beautifully. Inscribed one of them as I requested as a 5-time All Star. I don't know if
mm.
you can see it, but it's up on my Instagram. Um,
Are those all Astros cards or different teams?
one in Oakland, one of them in
Okay.
Oakland. So that one is in Oakland.
Nice.
Yeah, and that's a 4-year stretch of his career where he was the closer in both of those spots. Career 303 saves, 330 ERA, 900 strikeouts across 130 innings. Like he was just good, and it's a shame that
Yeah.
we just keep seeing this happen week after week. Like this is
Yeah.
it's bad.
Yeah, it is. It's terrible to watch. And um, these are players that sure, I was 13 when he retired, but like, these are players that we grew up idolizing. Not necessarily like they weren't the most famous, they weren't the best, but they were players that we watched and we have memories watching them. And it really is saddening that like, they're passing away way too soon.
Well,
Um,
and it's finally out what he passed away of.
oh, what
Uh,
was it?
he died of COVID complications.
Okay.
No, I got those cards last year. I certainly would have heard through the collecting community if he was sick, and I wouldn't have
Yeah.
sent them to him. So it's
Okay.
very upsetting that it's this, you know.
Yeah, I wonder if he had some sort of underlying
Possible,
medical issue. It's possible, but
possible.
it really is so sad.
Our hearts and our thoughts and prayers go out to Jones's family. I'm sure he's leaving behind kids, a wife. It's a sad time, and we hope that we don't have to do this again next week.
Yes.
Mike, thank you for being here with me this week for First Base.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was a lot of fun as always, Joe. Always a pleasure to be here.
Thank you guys for watching. Oh, Mike, happy Thanksgiving, man. We're not going to do a show until
Hey,
after the holidays, so happy Thanksgiving to you. Favorite side dish?
I'm gonna have to go with stuffing. You
Yeah,
can't go wrong. You can't
no,
go
you
wrong
can't
with
go wrong
stuffing.
there.
What about you?
Second, mashed.
Okay. All right, good call.
Pretty
Happy
pretty
Thanksgiving,
plain.
Joe.
Thank you, man, and thank you guys for all watching. We would not be here without all of you. If you're new to the YouTube, go ahead and click that subscribe button, ring that bell, make sure you don't miss any of our updates. For those of you listening on Spotify, on Stitcher, Anchor, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, thank you as well. Make sure you like this, give us a 5-star review, and share it with your friends. Follow us on TikTok at It's the Bigs Podcast. Follow us on Instagram, same handle. I think I covered everything, right?
Yeah, all
All
the big
right.
ones.
All right. That'll do it. Guys, until next time, it's been real. It's been fun. And it is always real fun in the big. See you next time.